All right, so regression lines and correlation coefficients. So this is really getting into the nitty-gritty of it. So this looks at our plot of age versus our blood pressure. And what we've done is we've added this regression line that's in here. And so this is the best fit line. And so it fits approximately the data the best. And so there's equal amount above and below the line. And we actually are touching that point. We're getting close to touching that point. And so the spread of the data around it is as small as possible around that line. And so when we use software, we can get this best fit, and we can also get it by doing calculations by hand. Now, a measure that is used to describe the strength and direction of relationship between variables whose data points lie on or near a line is called the correlation coefficient, and we designate that by an R. Now, the figure on the next page is going to show us scatter plots and correlation coefficients. So the variables that are positively correlated tend to increase or decrease together. So that would be like this one. This is positive correlation. So they're either increasing, both of them going up, or if we start here, they both go down. And they kind of do that on all of them that are positively correlated. Now, by contrast, variables that are negative correlated, if one variable tends to decrease, the other one is increasing. So that's going to be the case we're here. And this one is kind of lower, but so if we start here, as we increase, say, the age, it looks like the blood pressure is going down. So that's just an example since we already had that one. And so it's negative correlation. And so that all looks like they're all three negative correlations on those. Okay. Now, the correlation coefficient R is a number between -1 and 1 inclusive. So everything in between there is included. And R of 1 indicates a perfect positive correlation in which all points in the scatter plot lie precisely on the regression line that rises from left to right. Whereas an R value of -1 indicates perfect negative correlation in which all the points in the scatter plot lie precisely on the regression line that falls from left to right. So looking back at our thing, this would be a perfect line. So if we drew the perfect line through here, that means every one of those points would lie on the line. That's a positive, perfect correlation. This would be a positive, I mean, a negative, perfect correlation. And so that would be how it goes. It falls as it goes from left to right, whereas that one rises from left to right. All right. So then if R is between 0 and 1, the two variables are positively correlated, but not perfectly, and not all the data points will lie on the regression line, and negative correlations have a value of R between 0 and -1, and they're negative correlated, but they're again not perfect. So it's not everything going to lie on that line. And so what we can see is as we go smaller and smaller with positives, we draw a line there, not everything's going to lie on the line, and even less is going to lie on the line here. Now, this is kind of a shotgun pattern. We can't tell if there's anything there. It's not positive, it's not negative correlation, it's just no correlation at all. Now, here, if we draw that line going down, it goes through and it's a negative correlation, but it's very weak. Okay. Now, this is a stronger negative correlation. And again, that's the perfect negative correlation. All right, so let's look at this example here. So basically, they're asking, does drinking coffee have health benefits? So an article published in October 2020 summarized the results of a study of the relationship between a country's coffee consumption per person and the incidence of stomach cancer in the country. The correlation coefficient in this study was a negative zero point 0.6. Does this indicate a strong relationship between coffee consumption and incidence of stomach cancer? And then does the correlation coefficient suggest that the incidence of stomach cancer increases or decreases as coffee consumption increases? Well, that negative zero point 0.6, so let's go back to our pictures of our graphs. Negative zero point 0.6, it's going to be kind of somewhere in between here. So, it's not strong, but, it's down to moderate. So I would say with the negative zero point 0.6, let's call it's a moderate relationship. So it's not super strong, but it's not super weak either. It's kind of right in the middle because it's between, remember, 0 and -1. And so, it's just above the negative zero point 0.5. So it's closer to the -1 side. So I'd say moderate. And since it's negative, what's it going to be? Well, it's going to cause coffee consumption decreases that. So it's going to be decreases for that second part because again we're going down, and so then the rate of cancer should be going down as we go up in coffee consumption. Okay. All right, so that's that one. So let's pause there and we'll come back for some more.